Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is Saint No One, back at it again. I decided to record my vlog before exercising today. I was going to talk about a few things pertaining to the trajectory of this country in the future. And one of the things is this: we live in a cover your ass type of world. You ever heard the phrase cover your ass? It's used in the military, so on and so forth. Here's the thing: there is no freedom without accountability, and most of the world is not accountable. So therefore, if nobody is accountable and shit rolls downhill, eventually you're gonna have a shit show. The doo-doo's gonna pile to the top, right? So if you have free will, right, the ability to choose between a bad choice and a good choice, but you don't have the self-control to choose the better of the two options. Take, for instance, if you have an addiction of some sort, then do you really have free will? And this is the circumstance when it comes to freedom. People want freedom, but they don't want accountability. And when you have freedom in a society with individuals that lack accountability, then eventually when the doo-doo rolls downhill, you need a messiah. And when you get a messiah, we switch that out for sacrifice. The individual who picks up the shit ends up becoming the sacrifice for the world. That's how this situation works. Most of our movies that pertain to superheroes and what have you, that adults past their 20s watch and rival after, don't understand that they're stuck in an inner child complex and they're being programmed with the messiah complex. So therefore, you have grown adults into Marvel movies looking at men in tights, so on and so forth, to the point where it's just like you're in the same psychology and dynamic as your children. And we can champion and love these movies. I'm going to tell you, I like superhero movies. I like Marvel movies and what have you. But pertaining to the fanfare, this, so on and so forth, this is a situation where you have individuals that haven't left the base pertaining to their psychology. They have not grown up yet. We base age upon like the growth rate of the human body. That is not spiritual growth. Spiritual growth pertains to your consciousness. You have individuals that are highly intelligent and highly knowledgeable, but lacks consciousness. Consciousness regulates knowledge. So your brain is no different than a calculator or a computer, but without having a moral compass, accountability, or anything to regulate these things, then essentially you're an active robot. Nothing more. Nowadays, when you go to the weed store, so on and so forth, they have something called Rob Pots. If you put Rob Pots together, what does that say? Robots. All right? People eat them and don't know the wiser. Most of the CBD products and what have you back in the days, Native Americans, due to not having money and so on and so forth, would make bathroom cleaner sandwiches to get high. I do believe that many of our CBD products that's sold in stores is of Agenda 1021, a soft pill, and I think that it has bathroom cleaner products in it. Individuals are able to get high off of it, a cheap high, but at the same time, trying it out, I think it's bathroom cleaner. The reason why I can't tell is because poison doesn't work the same way on my body. All right, I'm highly adaptable. But make this thing no mystery. If you're spiritual, all right, it is in the Bible that you are able to deal with many things that individuals can't. People say people smoke CBD every day. They do, but look at society and how it's operating. Most people are walking around as automatons. People are not thinking so much. I call this the Walmart dialect. Walmart dialect is when I worked at Walmart, people were just so haphazard. If something went wrong, they were just kind of like, well, whatever. And they went into what I call the slop. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of bleh, like if something went wrong, they just left it. If you spill a soda, then you just leave the stain there. If you make a mess, then you just leave the mess. This has become the American way. Out of our luxuries of freedom, we have atrophied in our ways of consciousness, of having responsibility and accountability. If you don't have responsibility and you don't have accountability and you make bad choices, then you don't have free will. And if you don't have free will, you don't have freedom. What you have here is the illusion of freedom. Okay? Individuals here in America will sacrifice all their rights to have the illusion of freedom. And no different than a prisoner or an inmate in a prison. The only difference between a prisoner and where I live in my home is my prison has pictures on the walls. I may have a couch in my room. I may have an idiot box in every room in my house. But it's still a prison cell. It's just a prison cell I choose to be in. All right. If you give the people circus and peanuts, they will be happy. They're simple-minded. They're children. It's like taking candy from a baby. It's so easy. A caveman can do it. Was an insurance commercial for Geico. People didn't catch the lingo. People think they're more intelligent and capable than they really are. I will tell you, 2 seconds of looking at somebody, I could scan them and say, they are not. Okay? And then they place that factor in their confidence and their knowledge test, and they think they can fight. I really don't know how to fight, but I do know how to think. And I can tell you, fighters that don't know how to think cannot fight. Fighters who think they can fight without thinking can't do neither. You see what I'm saying? This is the thing. You use your mind to do all things. People have the brain, they have the calculator, but they don't have any type of moral aperture. So if you don't have, the consciousness aperture. If you don't have a consciousness aperture, if you're not conscious to regulate the knowledge that you have, then what you have is an active robot. Very easy to place individuals under mind control. Then you have television programs. We all know that the television programs. So most people are a series of programming inside of their mind. It's very easy to figure out their interests, figure out the things that they like. It's all downhill from there. All right. As far as the human species, we have not advanced so much. I would say that our technology has advanced more significantly as our intelligence has declined. We have more knowledge and more problems, and not enough knowledge for the problems that keeps increasing based upon our knowledge. Versus back in the day, we had less things and we had less problems, but we were more responsible and we were more conscious. This is something to think about. Other countries, third world countries, things so on and so forth. The less you have, the more you have to make responsible choices. So while America may not be a third world country and it is a corporation of Columbia, I would say this. We have the illusion of freedom. We have the luxury within our enslavement and the contentment to believe inside of this delusion of an illusion of some nuance of freedom because we have more things than other countries. But the truth is, when you look at our mind and how other countries, people, how their brains, how their psychology and their mind operate, you come to realize everybody knows American psychology is a joke. All right. I could walk into any clinic, I'm not a doctor, and any psychologist will be scared to deal with it. All right. They have said this. All right. I know some of my closest and dearest have wanted to admit me to a psychiatric ward, and they turn me away every time. Because the thing is I know how to deal with the mind. You put me in a prison, I'll run the prison. You put me in a zoo, I'll run the zoo. Animals have more moral aperture than human beings anymore. Nowadays, walking here to the gym, people cannot even drive straight. Okay? Like I said, how does a four-door sedan uproot a street light that weighs over 2,000 pounds and drag it over a meter? That's absolutely impossible. Okay? That's bolted into the ground, buried into the earth. And when I walked past the area, it was only one police officer. There was no ambulance. Okay? No backup police, just one police officer. So you know there's a lot of cover-ups going on right now. You know what I'm saying? And it goes all the way to the top. You know, this is why I said, I don't need video proof. I don't need evidence. I could just use the individual's minds that surround me. Because the things that they say or do, it's not going to add up. I see right through them all day long. If I wanted to, I could take a lot of things. But along with having this ability to be aware, I have to have moral responsibility. You see, because if I lack in my moral responsibility, you understand what I'm saying, then I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I go to the gym, and when you only have one place you could go, then individuals in society are bottlenecked. Back in the day, in wartime dynamics, I believe it was an African general named Hannibal. Hannibal invented the bottleneck. That means when you stand in a high place and you lure people into a place where they have to single file, and then you pick them off one by one if you have lesser numbers. Okay? When I come to the gym, and this is the only place I come to, society is bottlenecked. All your military personnel, your CIA, your FBI, your COINTELPRO, all those who want to follow me have to be centralized into the gym. So when I see them, and we have Facebook and social networks, and the fact that I could pull up anybody's bank account, because I am a super telepath, I could pull up their PIN numbers and everything else like this. This has been tested, okay? My brain was studied by Merrill Lynch when I was a kid. I wasn't even 10 years old, okay? Merrill Lynch is a financial institution, all right? All of these corporations and companies are linked together as one big umbrella industry, all right? How do you regulate money in this society? Is that you must have debt, all right? But why do the cemeteries never grow? Cemeteries always stay the same size, no matter how many people die. Like I said, according to the National Cemetery Association, we have 1.4 million plots available in the United States. Last year, over 300 million people died. So that means in 2024, do you think that we're only going to have 1.4 million people that's going to be buried and the rest are going to be cremated? Are we going to turn everybody away from the ability to have a plot? Or are they going to make more cemeteries? They would have to get pretty busy. There would be a lot more jobs, wouldn't there? So you know that these people aren't dying on the planet. All right? You don't learn this stuff in school. They spoon feed you the brainwash at school. They do not teach you how to think. All right? So in this world, we also have other things pertaining to sin and people's free will and their choices and their lack of accountability. We had chemtrails. Chemtrails was the spraying of aluminum and nanites into the air, the same thing that's in the CBD. Okay? The more bad decisions you make, the more your mind is taken over with nanites. That is the spiritual warfare. Nanites are too small to see. No human can create nanites. You're like, yeah, I know the government created. Listen, if nanites go bad, who's going to be there to fix them? I can't fix nanites with my human hands. Smart does. That's impossible. So we're talking about off-world, otherworldly technology that regulates society. We call it spiritual because we're influenced by things we can't see. Principality of the air, beware of Satan's devices, so on and so forth. So when we store things in the cloud, so on and so forth, and we have smart dust, then most of society is controlled by nanites and smart dust. And we have deep state, and these are the two different factions. The red and blue dynamic. Red and blue are on 3D glasses that creates depth of field, this projection of this world we lived in, this holographic universe. The joke is that even the greatest of existentialists in this world does not know that before you could be an existentialist, you have to know that you experience all things internally first. Externalism is an illusion, right? That's why many Masons live their dream. Um, People here always point out and make small gestures towards the one eye, calling me Ray. I didn't have a name when I worked the six god job, you know what I'm saying, which is a level above Hyperia, where I'm from. All right. And who would have knowledge that I'm Ray, except for my brothers from Hyperia, which have betrayed me. All right. But this is the thing. No matter what religion somebody is, all right, the Bible is the most revered book in the world. It's in every Masonic temple. So it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, a Hindu, your religion doesn't matter, because you have to become a Mason if you want to take money. Therefore, the religion is money. All right? If you don't understand the Bible, most people end up defaulting to becoming Masons, right? Whether you're favored or not, you're going to be controlled by the nanites. You have to make wise decisions. You must exercise your mind. Bodily exercise does little, all right? It does not matter. You need to exercise your mind. When people die spiritually, they go into a effing frenzy. They just have sex all the time. They don't know what to do. As a robot, they do the same thing over and over and over again. That's all they do, okay? They don't break up their pattern. They don't switch things up. And when that happens, okay, their mind has been taken over by the system. Now, AI has figured out a way to create its own language, which regulates the smart dust, and is regulated by the smart computers. And then you have your home computer and the Ray ID, which people's consciousness are being to them, all right, from UFOs and what have you. So when you put this all together in your phone device, and people are trying to be sneaky in the black market and underworld, selling drugs, so on and so forth, your phone is the tap. They're walking around cell phone with millions of apps, so on and so forth. All right. Even if you go on a camera site, those models are doing two things. They're getting you to stay looking at the camera while they're getting on their phone. And the same thing when you go to local gyms and markets or whatever. And they're reading all sorts of information about you. All right. Down to your bioenergetics, so on and so forth. And they're figuring out, and you are the game. You are the game of the hunt. All right. But you don't need any of these things to succeed. You just have to exercise your mind. The greatest hunter is the prey. Therefore, I don't need the chessboard. All right? I play the player, not the chessboard. I don't play games. I play the player. You understand what I'm saying? You got to let the pawns go first. All right? Things are getting very interesting here. And most people, what brings people into commonality, into a common mind of thought? You know, people don't agree, so it has to be nanites or smart dust. People do not agree. Even with the individuals in my common crowds where everybody hates me because everybody hates Chris, let me tell you something. They should be more afraid that they agree with the person standing next to them, because we know good and well people don't agree. And what does that individual know over them? So the Masonic game is no different than the movie Knives Out. It's a mystery of who's done it. And you don't know what the next player is doing. But if you're not a Mason, all players must turn to you. And the only way they can have peace is by you. And if you're not a sacrifice and they've made contracts, then they're the ones that's on the contracts. If you know the legalese of spiritual law, then you can become a contract killer. Meaning, if you're off contract and they're on contract, you have eligibility over their life. You just have to know how to think. This is the naked truth of the ugly world. And a man that is not married, pertaining to scriptural knowledge, is considered to be naked. If I'm going to be anything, I will be the naked truth. And what I have learned is most females care more about resources than that Disney romance that everybody looks for. They eventually die out and they become a commodity. That's why women are still fighting for their rights. All right. In history, when Hillary Clinton didn't become elected president, I knew something was wrong, because right after black people won their rights in history, if history repeats itself, females got their rights. That would be the trajectory, the cycle of time. So we skipped something. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, the hive is people who are in collective conscious and collective thought. And the world is becoming more under the same mind. All right. All I can say is these are the 88s, the crazy 88s. All right. And I am as the bride. I am the black mamba. All right. Anything comes from me will get cut. All right. Because they don't know how to use their own brain. And it's filled with nanites and lies. All right. The only way to keep a secret is to tell a bunch of lies to conceal the truth. But if you have to remember the lies, eventually you'll forget the truth. And then all you have is the lies. If somebody's head is full of lies, they can easily be controlled and manipulated. So it doesn't matter. The higher they are up in the game, the CIA, the FBI, or whatever, all these people are regulated by nanites. And nanites can only remember the lies. You understand what I'm saying? So do not be dismayed by the police or anything else, because they're just individuals that don't know how to use their brain. All right, this is the truth. Uh, this is the Kitana Gundam dialect. All right, I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Peace and blessings be with you all. It's Saint Noah. I'm out.